Hi, this is with the Cabarrus DA's office. I had a message that you wanted to talk to someone.
Yes, whom am I speaking with?
I'm one of the ADAs.
Okay.
And I just want, are you still there?
Yes, I am. What's your name?
I'm not going to give that. I'm looking right now. I'm trying to, first of all, decide what your role is in the case, because from what I understand, you are asking about a Colby Black. He has an attorney. So you wouldn't be...
Colby has...
No?
I'm Colby's counsel.
What does that mean?
That means, according to the Sixth Amendment, he has the right to counsel. That counsel does not have to come from the Bar Association, and he has appointed me to handle his affairs as his counsel.
Okay. All right, Mr. Staffel, I just want you to, have to give you this warning. Anything you say may be used against Colby Black's case, so I don't want to really have you, affect his case, because you're not an attorney. So that means there would not be attorney-client privilege. When an attorney calls and says things on behalf of his client, that cannot be used against the client, because he's an attorney. Since you're not, that protection wouldn't apply.
I understand.
And so I don't want you to say anything that you may think would be helpful but may not be helpful.
I understand.
As an officer of the court, I can't help, I don't want to hurt the defendant either.
My only responsibility at this point is to notify the District Attorney Office of Colby Black's status, because you have not been notified until yesterday, November 26th, of his status as a sovereign man. Okay? So I fulfilled my responsibility as his counsel in notifying the District Attorney's Office of Cabarrus County that Colby Lamont Black is a sovereign man, and you are detaining him against his will. You are violating his constitutional rights. You are obstructing him from exercising his natural-born, inalienable rights and inherent powers. Okay?
All right. Okay, and he has an attorney here, too, that will work on his behalf as well.
As far as that other attorney is concerned, I'm not sure the role. He may be getting fired soon. I do not know. But I do know that I was asked to step in and convene on his behalf as his counsel, and to make sure that you were given proper notice of his status as a sovereign man. So you are now liable.
So that may have some bearing in a procedure that you utilize or something, but I have to act under the laws of North Carolina. That's what I've taken an oath to do. And there is not such a procedure here.
I'm not referring to a procedure, I'm referring to a status. Okay, based on the Constitution.
Recognition of that status under North Carolina law.
I'm asking you, do you recognize the Constitution of the United States of America?
Of course, and there's nothing in the...
Absolutely, the 10th Amendment.
Constitution or about the case law that has interpreted that Constitution that recognizes this status or anything else. But that's fine. I mean,
Do you not recognize that the 10th Amendment allows every man or woman to declare their individual sovereignty? According to the 10th Amendment?
No, I don't know what your definition of individual sovereignty is.
It's not my definition, it's the legal definition. Black's Law Dictionary will inform you.
Okay, well, like I said, I know that you just got to be very careful that, I know that sovereign groups do have their own...
I'm not a sovereign group. I'm not a sovereign group. I'm specifically involved to notify you of Colby Black's status so that you will be liable from here forward.
Liable, there is no liability under our system. But I also want to let you know this. You got to be very careful if you're calling yourself as counsel that you don't want to be purporting to do the unauthorized practice of law. Because under our system that we will follow, the only person that has a right to speak for anyone is that person himself or an attorney who is authorized and
by him.
Under.
Are you saying no man has the legal right to have another man speak for him unless they go through the Bar Association?
That's exactly right. Exactly what I'm saying.
And that is not constitutional, is what I'm telling you. Excuse me.
And that issue has also been determined by the U.S. Supreme Court, and they did not agree with that. That the state also has a compelling interest to make sure that people who are speaking for others are trained to do so.
Okay, are you referring to nisi prius courts, or are you referring to superior courts of record? Because we do not get involved in nisi prius courts. Only a man can only be tried and heard in a superior court of record. So are we referring to a superior courts of record?
That's right. That's what we're talking about. And there is no right to have just anyone speak for you.
So you're telling me that a man cannot have another man appoint another man to speak on his behalf? Unless that other individual has gone through the American Bar Association?
I don't know about, not the American Bar Association, whether they are licensed to practice law in the state they're seeking to represent the other person.
So no man has a right to speak on his behalf unless he's licensed. And no man has a right for another man to speak on their behalf unless they're licensed. This is what you're saying?
No, I'm saying a person charged with a crime can speak for themselves.
Yes, but if that person that is charged with the crime feels like they're not comfortable to speak on their behalf, are you saying that their only other option is to have another licensed man or woman speak on their behalf?
Yes, that's why it's called the bar, because no one is supposed to go through the bar and sit on the inner part of the courtroom unless they have passed the bar. So the judge won't recognize. Now, there have been times like in sentencing or let's say you have a trial and you call a witness. Of course, a witness doesn't have to be bar licensed. And if you're like, let's say, sentencing and someone wants to stand up and say good things on behalf of the defendant, they can do that, but they're not allowed to speak, advocate for the defendant.
Okay.
They're not allowed to protect his rights.
Well, ma'am, if you feel that a man does not have or reserve the individual right to appoint any man he chooses, regardless of license, regardless of passing a bar association or being a member of a bar association, if you feel that a man does not have that right to appoint any other man to speak on his behalf during a trial, then we will pursue our litigation against you, and we will see how those claims hold up in due process.
All I can say is this: if you're planning to come to North Carolina and speak for Colby Black, just expect that the court's going to have these same issues. But that's for you to determine.
And that's for the court That's for the court to deal with.
The judge make that call, right? Not me. But I'm just telling you that's the law in North Carolina. And as a prosecutor, we prosecute those who engage in the unauthorized practice of law. For instance, if you would go down the street and get someone, and let's say the person is not an attorney, and say, "Hey, I'm going to draw up a will for you." You can't do that. Just like you can't have someone conduct an operation unless they are a licensed medical doctor.
And my question is, who has the authority to tell men what they can and cannot do?
The government.
A legal fictitious entity has the authority to tell a man who created it that they can and cannot do something?
Right. The people in this state, in this country, have gotten together and have formed a government that they feel best suits their needs. And they have set up, the state governments, they've set up the federal government. They have then duly elected representatives from their areas to go to either their state Congress or their federal Congress and make laws and rules for them. And that's what has happened. And me and you and everyone else who goes and votes chooses those people. Those people get together and they have created this government that I'm talking about, these rules that I'm talking about. Not me, they're not my rules.
I understand that process.
So what you're trying to do is to make up new rules or something else.
I most certainly am not making up anything. I'm returning to the natural laws that the governments have gotten away from. Now, my question to you is, I understand the voting process and how the government system came to be established. Now, in the event that establishment, that government, that legal fictitious entity goes out of control, it becomes tyrant, it becomes oppressive, are you saying that the other men and women in the country or in the nation that disagree still are obligated to be, to be governed by them, even though they disagree with their officers, their works, their practices? Men who disagree. So if someone else votes for people, we understand why they voted for them. But if I don't vote for them, am I still obligated to be under the rule or the government of someone I do not agree with governing me?
Yeah, because it's happening to me right now.
So how different is that than from slavery?
Because you have the right to vote.
But
slavery, you couldn't determine anything. People told everything to you. You couldn't have the right to even earn your own living. You had to work for someone else and get no pay for it. want, vote for anyone you want to. And you have avenues to redress any injuries you may have. You can go, if you feel like your constitutional rights are being violated, then you can go file a lawsuit.
Absolutely.
And
but my question is,
also go out and campaign for people you think are going to, better represent you in Congress. That's what your redress is, and that's what my redress is. You and I are no different.
I understand that, but I'm saying in the event as we are experiencing today, when the system has failed so miserably, how is it that the people are still obligated to be governed and be oppressed by the system when they disagree with it? How different is that? Because that doesn't sound like the freedoms you were just expressing.
Actually, that's exactly what kind of system it is. Because you know what we could have? We could have like South America. And you have one government that'll rise up and they'll be there for 5 years until everybody realizes, oh, this is awful. And then they go to war and people die. And then someone else rises to power and they say nice things. Oh, I won't oppress you. I'm going to be great. And then they go and oppress everyone. And there's another war and more people die. That's the alternative.
Well, I understand the big picture in that way, but bringing it to a more personal matter, based on this system, you have a man sitting in jail with no bond, no bail, no court date, and no hopes of getting out, and no due process of law. So how does this system has failed him?
I'm gonna look him up, and by the way, it's not my case. He has an attorney. He has someone who is licensed to advocate for him, and he does have court dates.
His attorney has done a horrible job. Otherwise, I would not have been brought into. I was researched and brought into this situation solely based on his attorney's performance, who everyone involved is totally displeased with.
Well, I mean, you can look in. This guy's got several court dates set, and also my understanding is that he was on. He had a court date and didn't appear on it, so the judge issued an order for arrest. But he has a court date, and
the last I looked, they said it was a court date for December 3rd. When we called in about that, they said that was not a legitimate court date. Then there was another one mentioned on December 25th. So and you all said that you will not be having any more hearings after the 17th for the rest of the year. So what court dates are you referring to?
He's got December 3rd. Who said that wasn't legit? He's got a number of cases on for that day.
I saw the December 3rd.
Right.
But apparently the December 3rd case is different from what he's sitting in jail for. I
don't know about that, but he certainly has a December 3rd, and his attorney will be there to be able to mention any other cases he had. So
you're saying you're expecting his attorney to be present on December 3rd?
Yeah, let me make sure that December... Hold on, let's find that December 3rd again. Make sure that attorney is appointed for that one. Oh, actually, no, those cases have been dismissed.
Which case has been dismissed?
The ones that I saw the December 3rd, those have been dismissed.
Okay, so why is he in there now?
It's for the ones that he called to fail. The only reason they would put a date is 12/25. That's when. Oh, here's some more December 3rd. Wait, hold on. Let me see about these. He also had some January court dates that have been dismissed as well. No, the December 3rd date. It's set for December 3rd. His attorney's Matt Ginn, and he will have to answer to those in court. The reason that he doesn't have a court date on the other offenses is because he failed to appear on May 9th, 2013. So he had a court date. He was supposed to be here. He did not. And when you don't appear to a court date, the judge issues an order for your arrest. As soon as you're picked up, since the magistrate doesn't know what the next, because they're a felony, they don't know what the next appear court date is, they just put Christmas. That alerts everyone that this is a cause and fail type case. They put it on the next time they're in court. So he does have court dates. He does have an attorney, and it's up to that attorney to help him.
Yes, but his attorney, whenever the family interacts with them, however he's responding, the family is very displeased with this performance, and they have no confidence in his ability or will to help Kobe.
He should, not you and not the family, because the family can't answer for him either. He should just write a letter to the judge. You can do that. And say, I'd make it very short, I'm not satisfied with my attorney. I'd ask for you to reconsider another attorney for me. I'd like to be heard about this. That's That's all he has to do, and the judge will make the call. I'm not guaranteeing that he'll get a new attorney. That's up to the judge. But I'm sure if he lays out decent grounds of why he doesn't want this attorney, the judge would listen to it.
But once again, you're saying he has to go through the system to have representation.
Right. They're going to have to be a licensed attorney. Period. That is the law across this country. We don't let anyone just conduct surgeries.
Who owns the courtroom?
Well, yeah, who owns our hospitals? We do.
Public, right?
What's the difference? And the public owns the hospitals too. What's the difference there?
Exactly. So my question is, where does the authority come from the workers, the trustees, to instruct the grantors of the privilege?
Let me ask you this, Mr. Chappell, do you think the government should be able to determine who is able to conduct surgeries on people or not?
I think each individual should be able to conduct who does surgery on them or not.
Really? So you think that if someone wants to go down the street and go to some back alley and have a heart transplant, they should be able to do it?
I think whoever needs a heart transplant should be able to decide who transplants on their heart, who does the operation on their heart.
Yeah, well, they can. That is the law as it is. You get to choose which doctor.
That's all I'm saying.
Are you saying that people should be able to choose anyone regardless of whether they are a licensed doctor or not?
Absolutely. If someone has done their personal research and they feel that a credible licensed doctor does not have the merit of some doctor in some jungle who knows other remedies that are unheard of, but based on the results of the jungle guy and the results of the doctor's accolades, they still want to go with jungle guy, they reserve the right to go with jungle guy.
Well, and that is absurd. What about this? What if you have an 8-year-old who needs a surgery and their parent decides that I'm going to let some jungle guy cut this child up and do a surgery? You think that's okay too?
That is the parent's child. That is their responsibility. That is their right to make that decision for their child. Absolutely.
The thing is, that is not seen as a reasonable standard that the rest of us are willing to abide by.
Reasonable to who?
To the majority of Americans, because we all, in every state, we have laws, but that is not the law. We don't allow that.
Well, here's my question. If that family, if that mother, for whatever reason, does not agree with the majority, why should she be forced to comply with them regarding the health of her child, opposed to what feels righteous to her? Who has the authority to trump what she feels is best for her child, just because the majority does not understand?
That's a good question, and that's the kind of government we've all decided to have.
I did not decide this government. So my question to you, because I did not decide to have this type of government and I oppose it, what do you think my remedy is? Or what do you
Go through the court system that we have all supported and funded.
I'm telling you, I do not support it. So what are you suggesting the remedy is for people in this nation who do not support what you're saying? Because you keep using the term we, I'm telling you I'm not included. So what's the remedy for me who is not included in that we? You go through
the court system, and if that doesn't work, then you try to elect people who would feel differently, and if that doesn't work, you have two choices. Stay and are subject like the rest of us.
I'm sorry, one more time?
You go through the court. If that doesn't work, you try to elect representatives, and if that doesn't work, you have two choices. Stay or you leave.
Stay or leave where?
That's it.
I'm sorry, ma'am, stay or leave where?
This country, and go to some other country that has rules and laws that maybe are better suited.
I was born on this land, so you're saying if I don't conform to a legal fictitious entity that was established on the land that I was born, a man, I have to leave?
Unless you want to follow their rules.
Unless I want to comply with the legal fictitious entity.
Let me ask you this. I'm just curious. If our country went to war tomorrow, and you got a draft that said you must come and be part of the military, like a lot of men received in World War I, World War II. No?
What's the question?
If you received a draft notice, and because our country is going to war, let's say someone has attacked us,
right?
You got a draft notice that commanded that you go and be part of the military and fight for this country. Would you do it?
I would never go. I would never, ever fight for America.
All right. You know what? We're going to just stop here. we're going to stop here because you know what? I come from a long line of people who have risked their lives so you could sit here and have this conversation, and yet you're not willing to go and take any type of risk.
Well, guess what, ma'am? Those people who you're talking about risking their lives, they killed 100 million of my red family. They killed 100 million of my black family. So why would I go risk my life for them?
Okay.
We're talking about this land, right? Yeah, this land was stolen, in case you forgot history.
Yeah. We're not going there.
You just went there. You were talking about war.
What I'm saying, we're not going to go here because you are talking nonsense at this point. And you answered it all for me when you said that you wouldn't go and take that challenge. So what you want to do is reap the benefits of this country?
Actually, the challenge, ma'am, would be staying here and resisting the draft, not going off to war as I was told. That would not be the challenge. That would be the coward way out. The challenge would be to stay here and fight for my rights, not to have to go fight for a country that hates me.
Mr. Chappell, there's more than just you. And
of course. And that's what this conversation is about.
Other people. You're not. You want whatever is going to personally benefit you, and that's what you and I will never agree on. There's nothing that we can ever have. We'll never be able to have a debate because there is no point. To have a decent debate, you have to have a point that both sides agree with so they can start somewhere.
My question to you is, how is this all about me when I'm calling on behalf of Kobe Black?
It's all about you.
But I'm calling on behalf of someone else to defend them against you and your system.
Quit saying me in my system. It was me.
You work for them. You are an agent of government, and I'm speaking about the government and its agents.
Right. Well, like I said, we're done. I gave you probably way more time than anybody else would.
And I do appreciate that. Thank you very much, actually.
But you did answer all that. But anyway, so December 3rd is when he needs to make his first move to kind of get notice of the court and get court dates set for the other charges.
But you're saying another attorney is already... Now, when's the January date? Oh, but the January dates got dismissed.
I'm sorry. No, December 3rd is the next court date.
And that's the only one? Is there anything after that, except for the bogus December 25th?
Not yet, but on December 3rd, I would ask what this court date's going to be. And it's going to probably be, let's see, I'm looking at my schedule. I would imagine we're not a big county, so we don't have court every week. Not for felonies. We have it every day for misdemeanors.
Okay.
So I would imagine that his next time in for the felonies would probably be set for January 13th. I don't know that for a fact, but that's probably what it's going to be.
All right. I appreciate your time and the information.
All right, sure. Bye.
Bye.